Rifle season has opened up here in Missouri, and hopefully, if you went out opening morning, you saw all the bucks grunting and chasing does and all that awesome activity that comes along with hunting during the rut. But based on all the comments, the tweets, or are they X's? Tweets or X's? Whatever. All the comments and Facebook posts and all that, there are plenty of hunters out there who did not see a single buck. And there's also a lot of hunters out there that didn't see a single deer at all. Well, in this video, we're going to go over 5 reasons why you aren't seeing any bucks. And hopefully you'll be able to take these tips, adjust your strategy so you can finish out the rifle season and the rut season strong. But before we go over these tips, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first reason why you are not seeing any bucks is you are hunting in areas where the woods are just too wide open. Have you ever been to a state park and you notice that underneath this mature canopy, you can see more than 100 yards into the woods? Well, if you can see more than 100 yards, then the deer definitely can see a lot farther than that. That state park effect may be pretty to look at, but it is terrible deer habitat. And yes, you do want a little bit of that on your property. You want different stages of that on your property. You don't want all of it to look the same. Underneath that closed canopy, it is essentially a biological desert. That means there is no cover and very little food to browse on. If you own the property, consider having a logger come in and take some of those more mature trees, thin it out a little bit, get more sunlight to the forest floor. Now, definitely consult a forester if you're not experienced with this, so you can make sure that the loggers go along with your habitat goals. That you don't want them just to come in and just cut trees. So a forester is going to help you guide that along so you accomplish your goals. The benefit to this is while you are creating more cover, you're getting more sunlight down on the forest floor, you're providing more food for deer and turkeys to eat, you're also making a little bit of money in the process that you can put towards some other future projects. Then after that logging, you need to come back through, do a little TSI, get rid of some invasives, because I'm sure you're gonna have some in your forest. It's definitely gonna be some autumn olive and some bush honeysuckle, most likely. Follow up with a prescribed fire, clear that, reset it, and then the next spring, you'll have a flush of green growth that is tons of food and tons of cover. Now, if you don't own the land, maybe you go on public or you lease it, you got permission, or you do own the land, but you're looking for a solution right now. How can I see more bucks this season until I can do some of this habitat work? Well, that's pretty simple. You just find another place to hunt. Don't hunt over those wide open areas. Look for that thick cover. If you've got that wide open area and you've got some areas that are very thick, hunt that edge. That's going to be a great place to hunt to find bucks cruising for does. And the second reason why you are not seeing any bucks is kind of related to the first one, is that you don't have any good bedding. If there isn't any place for bucks or does to bed down, then they are gonna go find it someplace else. When you are hunting for bucks, it is essential that you know where the doe bedding areas are. Bucks are cruising these areas during the rut looking for that receptive doe, and so if you don't have it, they're going to where the does are. And usually that's probably on your neighbors where the young bucks get shot. If you're hunting on public land, this is when that preseason scouting is absolutely vital, because not only do you need to know where the doe bedding areas are, you have to know where the doe bedding areas are that other hunters aren't going to. And if you're on private land, you have to work to create this. You've got to open up the canopy, do some hinge cutting, prescribe fire, get rid of invasives, do all these things to create that bedding where you are, and you will have a ton more success. And the third reason why you aren't seeing any bucks is you are only hunting those large fields and food plots. Big destination food plots and large fields are great places to hunt in the early season and in areas where there is very low hunting pressure. If you are hunting where there is a lot of hunting pressure, which is pretty much most of us, then these deer aren't going to be going out into these big open fields and food plots until well after dark. They're just not comfortable with it. After those first few bullets fly, they're gone. They know what's up. You should focus your efforts on hunting those trails leading to and from those big destination food plots, or those bedding areas near those plots. You're gonna have much more success that way. Another option is one that's pretty popular, is those hidey hole kill plot food plots. They're gonna be in the timber, less than half an acre or so, that they feel a little more comfortable going in there because cover is much closer than, you know, big 5-10 acre ag fields or big soybean food plots. Now you just have to be very careful how you hunt these. That the way they're set up, you need to be able to access them very, very carefully. That way you don't bump any deer going in and out of them, because it kind of defeats the purpose. If you're bumping deer every time you go to hunt it, they're going to associate that with hunting too, and then that hidey hole kill plot that you spend a lot of time creating is going to be worthless. And the fourth reason why you're not seeing any bucks, it's kind of piggybacking on the last one, is you are not paying enough attention to your entry and exit routes. If you're not paying attention to how you're getting to and from your stands, you are probably blowing out more deer than you could even imagine. They don't always snort and make a bunch of noise when they run off. A lot of times they just sneak out quietly and you never even knew they were there. Always pay attention to where your scent is blowing when you're trying to get to your stand. Don't walk through big open fields or food plots or right next to bedding areas to get to your stands. It is just as important how you get to and from your stands than it is where your stands actually are. You absolutely have to plan for this when you're picking your stand locations, because if you can't get to it quickly and quietly without going through these major areas, then you're never going to see anything. You're just going to blow everything out of it and hope that they come back. And a lot of times they just don't. If you start focusing on this, thinking about how you're going to get to and from your stands, have that outside in approach to hunting the property, then the number of deer you see are going to go up dramatically. And the fifth reason why you're not seeing any bucks is you're hunting the same spots over and over again. You can easily wear out a hunting spot if you just continually hunt it over and over again. Deer can pattern you just as easily as you can pattern them, probably even better. This is especially true if you're hunting stands when those conditions aren't right. Hunt stands only when the wind is in your favor and when you know you can access it without bumping any deer. Now, you're probably always going to bump at least a deer or two no matter where you go, because you can't always predict where they're going to be, but the goal is to bump zero. You can't just not care how you're getting to your stands or how many deer are going to be in the area when you're trying to access them. If you are constantly bumping deer or they see you coming every time, they know exactly where you're going, they're just going to learn to avoid the area, and then you're going to be left with all these nighttime photos of bucks, and you're going to be wondering why your bucks are nocturnal. And in case you're dealing with something like that, I've got a video on that right here. Give that a watch. So that was 5 reasons why you're not seeing any bucks. If you've got any more tips you'd like to share, some things you've learned along the way to increase the number of buck sightings you see, then leave those down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you're subscribed so you can stay informed.